Recently, Inon Zur spoke with New Musical Express about his latest collaboration with Bethesda in creating the score for Starfield. Later, we will talk about the future of E3 and what to expect from Fallout 76 in October. There's a lot of news to go over here, so let's get started. For over 2 decades, composer Inon Zur has brought many of our favorite games to life. Zur has scored every single Fallout game since Tactics, and if you've played any of the games without listening to the radio, you would know that the score in each game is very moving. Zur is pretty adamant on writing music that has nothing to do with the radio stations, and often goes out of his way to make the score have a stark contrast to the music on the radios in Fallout. However, as Zur stated, every now and then I will sneak in an element, maybe a guitar riff or a few chords, from one of the songs into the score. I challenge players to listen to the radio stations and find where I planted these gems, where I'm hinting at one of the songs in the score. The first one who finds these gets a personal tour of my studio, said Zur. Zur continued, "The worlds that Bethesda are creating are multidimensional. They are very, very deep, and you can find many emotional aspects in their world building. One of the things that Bethesda is really good at is building a multi-layered experience. They can capture a dark landscape with scary events, but still evoke hope in your heart, or create the urge for exploration and excitement for embarking on a new adventure." With Starfield shaping up to be Bethesda's biggest title to date, Zur says it will carry many of Fallout's themes with it. Much like Fallout, Starfield has even more of these themes and experiences. On one hand, what motivates us to leave and explore the universe and the dangers of discovering other unknown worlds, but also the excitement of a new voyage and hope for the future is exhilarating. Even though Starfield is not expected to release until next year, Bethesda has released a short video with Inon Zur playing a solo version of the Starfield theme. Man, I love that theme. Zur points out, "I composed these cues before I even knew the full vision for Starfield, so they were inspired by just the notion of the exploration, mystery, and wonder of space." After I visited Bethesda Game Studios in early 2016, I wrote these 2 pieces based purely on the premise and using my imagination. I did not see any concept art or know what the story was yet. It was essentially music that was shared with artists for inspiration, and so they found themselves creating the game's art and design aesthetic along to this music. Zur continued, "Most of the time, I take into consideration the story, the art design, the motivation of the characters, and so on. But in this case, it was a unique chain of events whereby I wrote music that was just inspired by the idea behind Starfield. The suite is based on the main theme, which itself is an interesting journey as it was not initially the main theme. Originally, I wrote another main theme which evolved over several iterations, but the version we ultimately went with took another direction that became the now recognized theme with the 6-note motif. Like many other sci-fi blockbusters, such as the score for Star Wars by John Williams, Zur wants Starfield's score to stand out with its own character." Zur said, "When people think about orchestral music for sci-fi, they tend to automatically think of Star Wars because it's so prominent in our pop culture. Subsequently, anything else that is written for sci-fi and is orchestral in style finds itself in this realm to some extent. My music was not born out of nothing, as I am inspired by great composers like John Williams, Jerry Goldsmith, and others, and I'm sure some of these influences are subconsciously present in some of the music I wrote. But I think once you hear the full array of music for Starfield, you will appreciate that there are many components to the score that are very, very different and handcrafted for Starfield." Zur really can't wait to reveal more of Starfield's music. As Zur prepares for Starfield's release, he reflects on his over 20-year relationship with Bethesda. Zur says that working with Bethesda is very different from working with other studios. "With Bethesda, they very much give me the freedom to be inspired and follow my own instincts, rather than asking me to follow this or that direction. We've been working together for many years now, and both Starfield audio director Mark Lambert and game director Todd Howard always ask me to do what I think creatively, and if they do hear something that steps out of what they envision, they will be sure to tell me. They trust my artistic judgment and ability and always welcome my point of view." Zur added, "It's a wonderful collaboration. After 20 years of working with Bethesda over multiple projects, we've both grown to know each other very well. We know what to expect from each other, but we are also eager to surprise each other. We are really motivated to develop our collaborative partnership and push the creative boundaries higher and higher. We take every chord that we can stand on to make our next advancement. Sometimes we're referencing interesting elements from previous projects as a starting point to develop new ideas. The way we approach artistic attributions is very similar. Usually, it's more philosophical, how we try to encapsulate the emotion in the musical piece rather than describing what the player is doing on screen." Zur couldn't be prouder of his latest score. He said, "I feel that Starfield is my best score to date, although that does not take away from any other scores which I have composed for Bethesda. I think that each of the scores for the Fallout series and others have their moments and uniqueness, but as a whole piece of work, I believe Starfield shows more of my maturity as a composer." Inon Zur is a very talented composer, and I can honestly say that I love the music he has created in past games. So for me, the music in Starfield is going to be amazing, and I can't wait to hear the full score. Moving on, E3 is back, my friends. E3 2023 will host an in-person event and will run from June 13th to June 16th next year. The Entertainment Software Association, or ESA, and ReedPop have announced that they are bringing back E3. The last in-person E3 was back in 2019, and since then only had one digital event. That's kind of a big deal for a show that has been running for a quarter of a century. The new showrunners, the ESA and ReedPop, are the ones behind PAX, EGX, and many more. The next E3 will be held at the Los Angeles Convention Center and will be split into 2 sessions. Those are called Business Days and Gamer Days. June 13th and 14th are business days where people working in the industry will be able to connect, network, and meet up. It also gives the media a chance to take a look at the latest and greatest new games in development. June 15th and 16th are the Gamer Days. There will be lots of games to check out and devs to meet along with streamers, YouTubers, and other personalities. Ticket holders can pop into a dedicated theater of content showing off upcoming games. If you can't make it, then you will still be able to take part in the form of digital events beginning on June 11th and running through the show. So, if you want to be there in person, start planning now because E3 will draw thousands to the in-person event. Finally, Fallout 76 has some news released in its Inside the Vault series. Aliens are back once again. Starting on October 4th and ending on the 18th, we can take part in the Invaders from Beyond events. During this time, certain public events like Campfire Tales, Free Range, and Line in the Sand will see limited time changes that only happen during the Invaders event timeframe. Also during this time, we will get the alien random encounters as well. This weekend will also bring us double script, score, and gold. Plus, Minerva's Big Sale will be going on. These will run from September 29th to October 3rd. So, if you want to get more of the various currencies, or just want to get some of the wares that Minerva is offering, or you just want to get through the scoreboard faster, then this weekend is the time to play. Links to everything we have talked about are in the description below. Now I want to hear from you. What do you think about the musical score for Starfield? Are you excited for E3 coming back? Is there anything you plan on doing in 76 this weekend? Sound off in the comments below. While you're at it, like, subscribe, and share this video. As always, I'm just glad you stopped by, and I'll see you in the next one.